Good morning, good morning, good morning. Woo, it is a cold and chilly day in Fort Worth today. How is the weather for everyone who may be listening in on the chat? It's chilly here. Took me a minute to get home. Don't know why. It was a little bit of a wait getting out of the parking lot today, but alas, I am here. Present and accounted for. I got two early birds in the chat. The Wheels. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. Did I put that title on there right? I did. Leviticus. Okay, Leviticus 1 through 3, week 7. Eric, Life of Key pops in and says, good morning. Erica Renee Vlogs. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Un momento, por favor. Well, I shared the live stream as quickly as possible. Got a little bit late start today. Like I said, I don't know why that parking lot was so hard to get out of. I guess it was so cold that everybody was running to their vehicles to get in line first to get up out of there. But in either case, I'm here. Let me know. I'm trying to be mindful of what browser I use. Let me know if the static is there, and if so, then I can switch browsers on what I'm viewing my other stuff on. The Wiz says static. Yeah, I think I figured out which browser not to use. I think Microsoft Edge is the culprit. If I use Mozilla Firefox, I'm good. Of course, Chrome always works good. I just closed that browser out. So let me know if it's clear. I should be pretty clear now. No, I think now I know why it says this browser will no longer be supported for this app or whatever it says, so I won't be using it. Thank you for the 3 and 4 likes. Whew. Today's going to be a long day. Got to get to class. So let's be efficient with our time. Kenya, get everything set up. Bible ready, check. Camera setup ready, check. Thank you all for your continued patience. If you have the ability to share out the live, now would be a great time to do it. I think I've shared out everything I could possibly share it on all social media and whatnot. And so on that note, let's get this party started right and quickly. I probably could have shared it out with a couple more people, but without any further ado, let me get on here. Okay, where's OBS? All right, tuning in. Good morning. Good morning, the unspeakable. Yep, let's get this party started right. Get the party started quickly. I think I've been live for about 10 minutes now. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday? You guys know I don't ever know what day it is. Working nights has me all discombobulated. So I think happy Tuesday. Pretty sure it's Tuesday. Guess what we're gonna do today, ladies and gentlemen? Believe it or not, I'm gonna read the Bible because that's what I do every morning. Tried to trick you there. We are going back to the Old Testament, Leviticus, which I learned yesterday reading the little postscript or reading the little cornerstone. I had no idea Leviticus was based off of the tribe of Levi. Like, duh, but when you don't know, you don't know. So yeah, I found out yesterday Leviticus comes from Levi, and we are jumping back to Old Testament Bible using the New Believers Bible compact version, New Living Translation. Yesterday I showed you guys the other Bibles that I also have. Quest New International Version Study Bible, Classic King James Version, La Santa Biblia in Espanol, New International Version, and New King James Version. I only got one feedback from, I think the Wiz said, stick with the one that I'm reading from. So I'm going to stick with the one that I'm reading from, which is a modernized read of it. So some scripture may not sound familiar to you, but it's pretty much the same stories, just told in a very compact way, like it says. Tuning in, good morning. I'm going to a funeral today. Please pray for my mom. And oh man, that is really sad to hear. I'm sorry to hear that. Okay, my condolences, the unspeakable. Okay, I will. You know what? I do need to start a little prayer list because I've been thinking about that. I got some folks at work that that's been on my mind too. I will keep you in mind. I will keep you in mind. And prayers going out to you and your mom, the unspeakable. Thank you, Erica. Okay. Yeah. Wow. You will be in my prayers today. I think we've got everybody in here. Got a full house. Got 4 likes. If I can get some more, that'd be cool. Let YouTube know what a fine job I'm doing. But in the meantime, in between time, let me get on in here with Leviticus. Yesterday we finished up with Mark, the book of Mark, the Gospel of Mark. And I usually like to do some type of recap. Mark was pretty much saying the same thing that Matthew was saying, giving the his own point of view of what was happening, and it seemed like it was a little bit, there was some slight differences. Yesterday was 14, 15, and 16, I believe. So quick recap for anybody who wasn't here yesterday. 14, Jesus anointed at Bethany. Judas agrees to betray Jesus. The Last Supper. Jesus predicts Peter's denial. Jesus prays at Gethsemane. Jesus is betrayed and arrested. Jesus before the council. Chapter 15 covered Jesus' trial before Pilate. The soldiers mocked Jesus, the crucifixion, the death of Jesus, the burial of Jesus. In chapter 16, the resurrection. And then there was 2 different endings. The shorter ending of Mark, which I'm not really sure why that was 2 different ones, and the longer ending of Mark, talking about what specifically happened after the fact. So now in the book of Leviticus, let's see, it says, the author is Moses, and this is like a little blurb at the top from the New Believers Bible. The author is Moses. The date written is 1445 to about 1444 BC, and the genre is law. Leviticus deals with the worship of a holy God. Here God gave the priests and the people rules to live by so they could present themselves holy before him. Chapter 1, and let me give a quick screen share to the folks who may be new here and want to know what type of, what rate, not rate, but the schedule that I'm reading on. This is my downloaded guide, my little, I don't know if you would consider it a devotional or whatnot. This is the Woman's Guide to Reading the Bible in a Year by Diane Stortz. As you can see here, it's broken down. Each line represents a day of the week. Yesterday was Monday, finishing up Mark 13 through 16. And through the rest of this week, I'm going to be reading Leviticus checkpoints to keep in mind for this reading is an upper room, blood and fat, a special turban, cedar and hyssop, and scapegoat. And if you are wanting to check this out, that's what the cover looks like. Woman's Guide to Reading the Bible in a Year, a life-changing journey into the heart of God. So that is the schedule that I'm following while I'm reading. And yeah, it's about 2 to 3 chapters a day, depending on the day. Chapter 1, let me double check, keep my live stream up so I can see my people coming in and out. All right, chapter 1, procedures for the burnt offering. The Lord called to Moses from the tabernacle and said to him, "Give the following instructions to the people of Israel. When you present an animal as an offering to the Lord, you may take it from your herd of cattle or your flock of sheep and goats. If the animal you present as a burnt offering is from the herd, it must be male with no defects. Bring it to the entrance of the tabernacle so you may be accepted by the Lord. Lay your hand on the animal's head, and the Lord will accept its death in your place to purify you, making you right with him. Then slaughter the young bull in the Lord's presence, and Aaron's sons, the priests, will present the animal's blood by splattering it against all sides of the altar that stands at the entrance to the tabernacle." And of course, week before last, we went through the intricacies and detailed instructions of the Ark of the Covenant and all the accessories there, and then the actual tabernacle. Then skin the animal and cut it into pieces. The sons of Aaron, the priest, will build a wood fire on the altar. They will arrange the pieces of the offering, including the head and the fat, on the wood burning on the altar. But the internal organs and the legs must first be washed with water. Then the priest will burn the entire sacrifice on the altar as a burnt offering. It is a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. Verse 10, if the animal you present as a burnt offering is from the flock, it may be either a sheep or a goat, but it must be male with no defects. Slaughter the animal on the north side of the altar in the Lord's presence, and Aaron's sons, the priests, will splatter its blood against all the sides of the altar. Then cut the animal in pieces, and the priests will arrange the pieces of the offering, including the head and fat, on the wood burning on the altar. But the internal organs and the legs must first be washed with water. Then the priest will burn the entire sacrifice on the altar as a burnt offering. It is a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. 2 questions / commentary. Why do they need to be male? Is that, well, I wouldn't consider it foreshadowing, but is that representative of, the future male that is to be sent as the ultimate sacrifice? Or is it just for practical reasons, like, don't take it from the female herd because they are there to help reproduce? Curious about that part. Why does it have to be male? And then the second part, interesting that the internal organs and legs must first be washed with water. Again, is this for practical reasons, or does it represent something? When I'm thinking legs, I'm thinking, animals, the legs and everything, especially the backside where waste products are going to come out. Are we washing that area because we want that to be clean? When I think of internal organs, of course, you got the heart, the stomach, the intestines and all that, and probably all the waste producing parts of the organs. Is there a reason for that? Or I'm just wondering if anybody knows or wants to inquire or give their own insight, interpretation. Always feel free to let me know in the comment section. But I'm just wondering why he didn't say wash the whole animal. He said wash the internal organs and legs, and then make sure it's a male. Let's see, picking it back up in verse 14. If you present a bird as a burnt offering to the Lord, I didn't even know you could do that. If you present a bird as a burnt offering to the Lord, choose either a turtle dove or a young pigeon. The priest will take the bird to the altar, wring off its head, and burn it on the altar. But first he must drain its blood against the side of the altar. The priest must also remove the crop and the feathers and throw them in the ashes on the east side of the altar. Then, grasping the bird by its wings, the priest will tear the bird open, but without tearing it apart. Then he will burn it as a burnt offering on the wood burning on the altar. It is a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. Chapter 2, says procedures for the grain offering. When you present grain as an offering to the Lord, the offering must consist of choice flour. Choice. You are to pour olive oil on it, sprinkle it with frankincense, and bring it to Aaron's sons, the priests. The priest will scoop out a handful of the flour, moistened with the oil, together with all the frankincense, and burn this representative portion on the altar. It is a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. The rest of the grain offering will then be given to Aaron and his sons. This offering will be considered a most holy part of the special gifts presented to the Lord. If your offering is a grain offering baked in an oven, it must be made of choice flour but without any yeast. It may be presented in the form of thin cakes and mixed with olive oil or wafers spread with olive oil. If your grain offering is cooked on a griddle, it must be made out of choice flour with olive oil but without any yeast. Break it into pieces and pour olive oil on it. It is a grain offering. If your grain offering is prepared in a pan, it must be made of choice flour and olive oil. No matter how a grain offering for the Lord has been prepared, bring it to the priest, who will present it at the altar. The priest will take a representative portion of the grain offering and burn it on the altar. So not the whole thing. Is that what I'm understanding? They will take a representative portion of the grain offering and burn it on the altar. It is a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. The rest of the grain offering will then be given to Aaron and his sons as their food. Oh, answer my own question. This offering will be considered a most holy part of the special gifts presented to the Lord. Do not use yeast in preparing any of the grain offerings you present to the Lord, because no yeast or honey may be burned as a special gift presented to the Lord. You may add yeast and honey to an offering of the first crops of your harvest, but these must never be offered on the altar as a pleasing aroma to the Lord. Season all your grain offerings with salt to remind you of God's eternal covenant. Never forget to add salt to your grain offerings. If you present a grain offering to the Lord from the first portion of your harvest, bring fresh grain that is coarsely ground and roasted on a fire. Put olive oil on this grain offering and sprinkle it with frankincense. The priest will take a representative portion of the grain moistened with oil together with all the frankincense and burn it as a special gift presented to the Lord. Edward Smart pops in and says, hello, good morning. I just got to chapter 3, which may be the last chapter for today. Yes, this is the final chapter of today's reading, Leviticus chapter 3, Leviticus. If you present an animal from the herd as a peace offering to the Lord, it may be a male or female. If you present an animal from the herd as a peace offering to the Lord, it may be male or female, but it must have no defects. Lay your hand on the animal's head and slaughter it at the entrance of the tabernacle. Then Aaron's sons, the priest, will splatter its blood against all sides of the altar. The priest must present part of this peace offering as a special gift to the Lord. This includes all the fat around the internal organs, the 2 kidneys, and the fat around them near the loins, and the long lobe of the liver. These must be removed with the kidneys, and Aaron's sons will burn them on the top of the burnt offering on the wood burning on the altar. It is a special gift, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. If you present an animal from the flock as a peace offering to the Lord, it may be a male or a female, but it must have no defects. If you present a sheep as your offering, bring it to the Lord, lay your hand on its head, and slaughter it in front of the tabernacle. Aaron's sons will then splatter the sheep's blood against all sides of the altar. The priest must present the fat of this peace offering as a special gift to the Lord. This includes the fat of the broad tail cut off near the backbone, all the fat around the internal organs, the 2 kidneys, and the fat around them near the loins, and the long lobe of the liver. These must be removed with the kidneys, and the priest will burn them on the altar. It is a special gift of food presented to the Lord. If you present a goat as your offering, bring it to the Lord, lay your hand on its head, and slaughter it in front of the tabernacle. Aaron's sons will then splatter the goat's blood against all sides of the altar. The priest must present part of this offering as a special gift to the Lord. This includes all the fat around the internal organs, the 2 kidneys, and the fat around them near the loins, and the long lobe of the liver. These must be removed with the kidneys, and the priest will burn them on the altar. It is a special gift of food, a pleasing aroma to the Lord. All the fat belongs to the Lord. You must never eat any fat or blood. This is a permanent law for you, and it must be observed from generation to generation wherever you live. That concludes the reading, and my only last two comments slash commentary is, what is the difference between the burnt offering and the peace offering that requires the burnt offering only to be offered up of male animals, but the peace offering will allow male or female, whether it be something from the flock, from the herd, or a goat, or a sheep. It could be male or female. Interesting. Also interesting, all the fat belongs to the Lord. What is the significance of that? All the fat belongs to the Lord. That's where all the flavor's at, right? I mean, from a culinary point of view. You must never eat any fat or blood. That's the final verse, verse 17. You must never eat any fat or blood. Well, the blood part, I think I understand. This is a permanent law for you, and it must be observed from generation to generation wherever you live. Anybody have insight to that? Answers? I've lots of questions and lots of commentary, but not always any answers. Not too much going on in the postscript at the bottom. Lay your hand on the animal's head and slaughter at the entrance of the tabernacle, also called the tent of meeting in Hebrew. In 4:3. Oh, haven't got that far yet. Yeah, that is Leviticus, ladies and gentlemen. No cornerstones, no extra reading portions like the little commentaries here. Not for a while, actually. So yes, any comments, questions, considerations, insights, inspirations, interpretations, or takeaways that you may have, feel free to leave them in the comments section. Let me know what you get from the reading, or if you're using whatever Bible that you may be reading along with or study on your own, let me know like if there are any significance. I know there are significant differences. What the significant differences are in your particular version of Bible that you're reading, and whatever you do add, whether you agree or disagree or have a different belief or faith, feel free to leave your comments. Just be respectful. I will see you guys on tomorrow morning's reading. Everybody be blessed. I hope everyone was helped in some way or encouraged or informed in some way by this reading. And I just pray that we all have a safe and blessed day. Lord, be with the unspeakable and her family at this time of loss and grieving, and anybody else that may be grieving any type of loss. Be with them, comfort them, console them, and may they feel your presence and your love. Amen. I'll see you guys on tomorrow's reading, where we will be picking it back up in the book of, now I want to call it Leviticus, now that I know it's part of the Levi tribe. But see you guys for the book of Leviticus tomorrow as you tune into Entrepreneur Drive. Good old Entrepreneur Drive, 40 Entrepreneur Drive. Entrepreneur Drive, 40 Entrepreneur Drive. Entrepreneur Drive, 40 Entrepreneur Drive. Thanks for watching. Share, like, and subscribe.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to follow me on social media.